What's up YouTube, it's your boy Junior aka Semi, and welcome to Semi 2 Tech, the channel that brings you everything from product reviews, tech reviews, app reviews, all the way to live streaming and live gaming and everything else in between. So if you like all that stuff plus more, then stay tuned to the channel. And before we get started with this great new video, if you haven't done so already, right here, the subscribe button right here, click on that, and once you click on that, you make sure you click right next to it, the little bell right here. Enable bell notifications so you get notified for every single video I come out with or anything I come out with. As well as don't forget to like the video there and share it to all your social media platforms. Looking for some great IPTV service? Come check out dastreams.com and get some great information on a great IPTV service here, guys. Look at this great layout on the website, so much to offer. Prices as low as one connection for $8 and 4 connections for $20. Guys, how much better can you get with that? Go to the app here and you get out. Look at this great layout on this great app here. You got your live TV. Go into live TV, check it out. Look at all these USA channels here. Boom, look at how great this looks, guys. Look at all these great channels you can get from, guys. Simple as that. And guys, remember, it's as low as $8 and $20. Simple as that, guys. Very, very, very simple. What more can you ask for? Go ahead and get the service. Alright guys, thanks for coming back. I do appreciate all the love and support you guys show the channel. Remember, when I continue supporting the channel, all you gotta do is like all my videos, share my videos, comment on my videos, and if you still haven't done so, subscribe and enable bell notification. Why? Because that's gonna notify you every time I drop a new video or go live on this channel. And trust me guys, you never want to miss a thing. Alright, so today, like I said, we're gonna be talking about how to blur stuff out while using Adobe Premiere. Alright, I'm using Adobe Premiere CC version 2020, but this method works on older versions as well. If you do have an older version, there's two methods of using blurring stuff out that I like to use. I use both methods. Depending on my mood, I can use one way or the other way. One way takes a little bit longer and another way is a little bit faster, but both ways has the pros and cons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you both ways and show you what reason I would want to use this and the pros and cons on both of them. Alright, so as you can see right behind me, we have my Adobe Premiere open up. So I'm going to go and shrink myself down and so you can see the full screen. We'll get into more detail of what I'm talking about. Alright, shrink myself down here. Alright, here we are. So as you can see, we're on my Adobe Premiere. I already have a video file here. This is a video that I did a long time ago. And this is actually a video you probably guys seen that I talked about my my close near death situation with my motorcycle accident. So yeah, I'm gonna use that video just because it's a little bit easier to use real quick. So I'm gonna go in here and bring this over here. So once you have a video here, you drag it here, add it to your file. This is your starter package file, I guess you want to call it. And this is your timeline here. So when we want to move this over, all right, so this is my whole timeline. This is a 27-minute video, which I did cut down a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down. I'm gonna go ahead and bring something. That's one of my old logos that I created. Let me see. Oh, this is an old video. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it from here because I'm gonna use a small clip just so you guys know what to do. We're gonna cut it right there. Cut it down. I'm just gonna cut it here. This says 5 minutes. I don't need 5 minutes. I'm just gonna show you real quick how to do this. I'm just cutting stuff down real quick. So this is the timeline right here, guys. All right. So we're gonna use this clip right here. So let's say we're playing it. I'm gonna start from here. Let's say I want to blur the screen right here out. I don't want to blur this one out, but I want to blur this out. So instead of putting like a black box over it to make it easier, you want to blur it out. So at least if there's something playing that you don't want to get copyright strikes on your channel, then this will be a best way. So at least it shows something. You can see something is moving, is playing, but they can't see what it is, so you get in trouble. All right, so I'm gonna use this as an example. So the first way is I like to use is the simple effects. It's the easiest one to use, but it's harder if you want to use it for a moving object wise. And I'll talk about when I'm talking about that. Okay. But so if you just want to blur a certain thing that you know is not going to move, then this is the one you want to use. You want to go over to your effects and locate camera blur. This is it right here. We want to go ahead and drag it onto the file you're going to use. And you're like, oh my God, just blur the whole thing out. No worries, guys. That's perfectly fine. By default, it blurs the whole thing out. Now, you have three options how to pick a section out. You can either use an oval, circle type motion, a square motion, or a freelance motion. When it comes to blocking TV screens out or anything like that on any of my videos, I like to use this one because it's just real easy to use. So I click on the little square, and as you see, once I click on that square, as long as you have the thing that the effect is in highlighted, you click on one of these, this thing will appear either in circle, a freelance mode, or a square one, like a rectangle one like I picked. So let's say I want to blur this out. So I'm going to go ahead and go right here, blur it out as much as I can. I'll go ahead and move this down so it doesn't cover everything up. Just cover the screen itself. I'm just using it as an example. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the volume on this so we don't have to hear anything, because I'm going to play it and you can see how it looks. Let's go over here to effects. Okay, I just lower it all the way down so you guys don't have to hear it. So as you see, now if I start playing, that box is right there blurring it out. Now, other things you could do in here, if you want to make it less blurry and stuff like that, you have options right here. You see the percent blur. You can always raise it or lower it. So if I raise it more, it blurs it more deep. But if I lower it, it makes it more transparent. So that's how I want to go 14. So you go and play around with that as much as you want like that. All right. So there you go. That blurs it out. That's the quick and easy way if you want to blur a still object in your video that's not going to move. This is the best way to use. Honestly, it is. Now, when it comes to moving the object around, I'm going to go ahead and delete that effect out of the picture. So as you can see, it deleted that one effect. I'm going to go ahead and delete camera blur. Boom. Now there's no more effect on here, right? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do the effect again. I should have just left it the other way I had it. Camera blur again. Let's say we want to blur a face. You could use the same one. And you can make this to lowering it or however you want. So I'm going to go ahead and make it smaller. So you're making a circle to, to blur the face out. Usually is a circle. So let's say I want to use this like this. Boom. Okay, now if I click away, my face is blur, right? Perfect, it's blur. But what happens when I want to move around? Well, right now it wouldn't be a problem because I'm not moving too much. To move it around with this option is because all right, as you can see, let me see the mask. As you see, this has many different points here. So these are all points that have to move together if you want to keep it the same shape. So instead of moving the whole object, you can't move it like this easily because it doesn't know what point. This doesn't have a stopwatch. All right. So normally when you do movements and you want to move a certain object, a layer on your video, you have to do a stopwatch to pick a point where it is and then another point to move it to where you want it to move. So let's say I wanted to move the face. I would click on the little stopwatch next to the mask because that's the camera blur because that's what I'm using, but there isn't one. Because if you notice right here on this mask layer, there is different points here. So you see about over 20 to 30 points in here that you would have to move. But if you look here, there's not that many points, but there's only 4 points. So now you got to make sure that each 4 points have a stopwatch. So you play it until you want it to go. So if you keep it there, let's say I needed to move it. Oh, see how I moved a little bit to the right? I want to move this over to the right. So now what I would do is click on the mask, making sure all 4 of them are highlighted. If you want to keep the same shape, pick in the middle and then move it over. So now it moved over. Now let's go see how it looks when I had it from the beginning. So now when I move to the left, it's going to move the thing over to the left with me too. Watch. I should choose a smaller picture, but it's all right. But it moves because that's what you put as a time lapse on. See how I just moved a little bit because my head moved? So that works that way. Normally, it'll be harder for me to do it because I would have to pick each point and move it. But in this case, okay, let's say I want to move it back. Now I pick it again. I make sure I highlight mask and click on the middle. Sometimes you might have the error and you might click on one of these little points over here. That's going to mess up everything for you. So make sure if you have a big enough object, you click on the middle and actually move it yourself to where you want it. So I'm going to move it there. So I'm going to go back a couple of frames. I'll show you how to move. See how I moved over? So this is one way to do it. It's a little bit longer process. I like it, but it's simple though, because you don't have, you put it right into the file you want to put it on and then work from there. Now, another thing is, if you want to do it just for a certain section, let's say I just want to do it on this section here, you got to make sure you cut the section you want to do it, cut it, and then where you want the blur to start and then where you want to end. All right, let's say I want to end it over here. Just say I just want to end it there. Then you drag the file onto that section you want to do it. Because if you put the blur in the whole area, it's going to blur in the whole file. And that's going to be a bigger pain in the button down the road. So I suggest you cut the frames that you want to blur out. So this is the point that you want to start blurring. And this is the point you want to start ending. These are the 2 points that you want to cut. Just makes it easier. Just in my opinion. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start all over with this. I'm gonna take out the blur. Let me see if the blur is gone. All right, so the blur is gone. It's back to normal. There's no blur. There's no nothing. Now, the second way takes a little bit longer, but it's a lot easier to use. All right. So second way is, let's say we want to go ahead and get a section we want. Let's say we decided we're gonna cut this section here, and then this section here. All right, so here you pick the section where the blur is going to start and the blur is going to end. We're going to put it here. What you want to do is on the section you want to blur, you want to make a duplicate picture video layer on here. So basically you click on the file, you hit alternate on your keyboard if you're using PC, and I believe it's Option on Mac. So you hold Alt, click on the file you want to use, and you drag it up. Boom. As you see, it created a new file, well, new layer on top. So you know this is the layer you want to blur out. All right. So once you do that, you're going to have 2 layers of the same thing. All right. And that's the reason behind that. All right. So next thing you want to do, you want to get 2 effects. You want to go here. You want to look for MOS, MOSAIC. You want to get this, and under video effect, you want to, on the stylus, it's going to be mosaic. You want to take that one, drag it over, and put it on the top layer of the file, not the bottom one, the top one. All right, because that's the effect that's overlaying on this one. All right. Then the second one you want to find is Mato track key. So it's track Mato key. This one right here. Let me just type it out. This one right here, track Mato key. That's the one you want to put as under key in effect and video. You want to put this one as well on top of here. Third thing you want to do now is you want to go ahead and create another layer. So you're going to create a layer over here. As you see, it's all blurred out. So I'm going to go ahead and take away the effects on that so you guys don't have to see it right now. I'm going to create a third layer. You might want to do this part first because it makes it a little bit easier. Create the second layer here, but then create the third layer that I'm talking about next before you put in the effects. Where I want to go to File, go to New. Actually, let me go back to the media browser. All right, go to File, New, and over here you want to go to Legacy Tile. Create a new legacy tile. That's what you want to do. Click on that. Hit OK. You name whatever you want. I'm gonna name it Face Blur. All right. So it's gonna give you this second window here. It's gonna let you do whatever you want on here. And what I want to do is get the circle. and I'm gonna create a circle over my face. All right. Typically, people would be okay with this. To instead of using blur, they could create an object over the face, and that's it. That's all they need. All right. So I created a circle over my face. It's the same thing I did with the channel blur, camera blur. I'm gonna take this file right here. I created this little layer here. You want to take this and put it over the layer you want, and then stretch it out. So as you can see, my face is covered. Well, kind of. We'll adjust that later. But as you can see, it's covered. So now I'm gonna go ahead. I'm over the picture right now. I'm gonna go ahead and activate my effects again so you guys can see. So as you see, this one's up here. You're saying, why is this not blurred? Because this layer is on top of this layer. This is where the effects is, and this one's no effects at all. So now you're like, okay, how do you get rid of the effects only to be over that face, that circle? What you want to do, go into the track matte key. You see where it says matte colon? Over here it says none. You want to check the layer. We see it's on video layer 3. When I check that and change it to video layer 3, and boom, now the blur is here. All right, but let me go to none. You see how the boxes are bigger and a lot bigger than you would normally see on a blur thing, like on blur on TV or something. People like this blur a lot more because it's more movie TV specs wise, instead of the other blur, it's a clear blur. But people might use this one, so that's why people like this one. So you want to make these smaller or bigger, these boxes right here where it says horizontal box and vertical box. You want to make it smaller, bigger. So if you make the numbers bigger, it makes the square smaller. So if I go, let's say I want to go to 50. See how it makes the horizontal ways smaller? I'm going to do the same thing with the vertical box. And see how it makes it more better looking? I like it making it smaller because it makes it look more TV way. So we're going to go ahead now, choose video 3 on the matte key. See how the keys right here? Now, instead of picking all these time ones to change when you want to go ahead and move the face around, I'm going to start from the beginning. You see now the blur is going to come on right about now. See how the blur is there? Now, let's say I want to move the face. See, I just moved my face just moved. All I have to move is the layer that I created with the circle. This text, this legacy title one right here. Click on this one. And all you got to do is click on the position time clock right here. And that's all you do is move that box now. You click on it and you move it around. So every time he moves around, or I move around, I just move it over here. It makes it easier, you know. And then you just keep going as it moves. You can do it by frames, or you can do it by seconds. I have you feel comfortable moving it, but every time you once this time clock is clicked on, you see how it's creating all these little time slots here. That's what it tells the computer, okay, it's time to move, time to move, time to move. It's telling the system time to move every time I want to make a move, just because that time clock is on. So I just stay here and give it a few and go as long as you want, whatever you want to blur out. So boom, I'm just gonna keep it like that. So now let's see the finished product. So like when I was saying which one's easier and harder, it depends on your choice. The pro on using this 3-layer process is longer process, but it's easier to move the layer around when you want to move it, like I just showed you now than it was with the other one. It was easier to move it this way compared to using the camera blur. And the pro is that's the big pro on it. It's easier to move, but the con is you have all these 3 layers that you have to do just to blur one item out. Now, with the other way, with the camera blur, what's the pro on it? You simply cut the areas you want to cut, where you want to do the blur in, and then take the effect for camera blur and drag it onto that little section, and that's it. All you do is create the circle in there. Everything's all plug and play in there. It's easy to use. But then the con in it is a little bit harder to move the picture around, because depending how big the object is, you might not have enough space in the circle or in the square to move it around, because what about the blur is too small? That's the only con. With this, it takes the layer as the whole thing, so you don't have to worrying about the points moving at a certain point. All you have to do is click on the picture and it moves around as you see here. It moved here. Boom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play this around and show you how it all looks. All right. So I'm going to play here. Let me get it closer so you don't have to wait. We'll put the blur here now. So as you see, everything's moving slowly with my head. So it keeps everything blurred out. So yeah, I know this was a long video, guys, but I just wanted to show you the 2 ways that I know how to blur objects out of the videos that you want to blur out. Now you could go ahead and try to blur different things out. It's up to you how you want to blur it, but I show you the 2 ways. Now it's up to you which way you want to use. Both ways are good. I like both ways, and I'll use both ways depending on the video I'm making and what makes it easier for me. Like if I'm doing a picture and a video that I'm outside and I want to blur a lot of people's faces out, then of course I'm going to be using this one more than anything, because it's easier to do it when there's multiple things outside, easier to move around. Unlike the other one, I got to make sure I got to click on each one to make sure everything's blurred out. You know? So it's up to you guys how you guys want to use it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and everything I had to show you how to blur stuff out. If you did, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. Show me all the love and support you guys love to show me. Also, guys, don't forget to share this video, because you never know who's going to be needing to know how to blur stuff out using Adobe Premiere Pro. And this is a great tutorial. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, put them in the comment box down below. I'll get to you as soon as I can, as fast as I can, when I can. And I think that will do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Junior signing out. Peace.